Okay, so let's jump right back in to Project Watershed. I'm going to open up Pro. Now, stay in your layout space. Go to your catalog. Okay, it's probably going to look like this. Go to Portal and Living Atlas and search for the terrain layer. My favorite layer in the entire Living Atlas. And I don't know why the search in here is it's just really terrible. Okay, let's go to categories. We are going to go to environment and elevation and bathymetry. Okay. And okay, there we go. All right. And what you are looking for is this. Let me make sure, because I have this favorited, and I just want to make sure we're using the same icon. Okay, where's my terrain? Is down here. Yeah. So it should look just like this. Right click on this and choose Add to Current Map. Okay. So when you do that, you're probably going to get something that looks like this. Okay. Now, before we do anything else, and I should have done this before, and it's not a problem. We can easily delete this from our layers. But let's take these service layer credits off. We're going to give everybody proper credit, but we're going to do it in Photoshop. So open up your dynamic text, scroll down to service layer credits, and it's going to give you this crosshairs, draw out a box, and then I want you to gently click on that and just type in credits, lock it, and turn it off. There you go. All right, now back to terrain. Okay, now remember, this is just beautiful data because it hasn't. This is like getting the source data. Like if you were going to do a biography on Henry VIII, these guys, these and women that are serious historians, they go into these, great libraries, and they get permission to not analyze, that's such a technical term, but to read the original writing, the original letters and journals and diaries of all the people during that Tudor era. And that makes a profound difference for these people because you can really tell someone's personality from their handwriting. Just to put it simply, you're not losing anything by having someone else translate it for you. You are touching the source, okay? And when it comes to the Earth's terrain, this is the source, okay? And briefly, I want to right click on this guy, choose activate, and if you just click on any one of those pixels, okay, it's going to tell you how high it is, the slope, the aspect. This is a 32-bit data set, okay? That means there's a lot of information embedded in each one of those pixels, not just a shade of gray. Okay. All right, let's go back to layout. All right, so we're locked up here. Now, again, everybody should look bland, and that is because the software program is stretching out those 256 shades of gray across the entire planet. And what we can do is we can tell them, hey, I want you to use the same 256 or 255 it might be, but I want it to be just in my purview, in my AOI. Okay. Now, before I was talking about doing this clipping up here with our watershed boundary, don't do that, okay? I've discovered one of the reasons this is having a hard time exporting is they just have a hard time clipping data, and also their clipping is very choppy and it yields poor results down the road, okay? Photoshop does a great job of trimming and clipping data. So it's always good to know your tools and which tool is right for which job. So we're going to export this whole page, but first let's click on terrain. Let's go to data. Let's go to image service layer. And now we're going to activate this amazing dynamic range adjustment. Okay, so we're going to adjust all of those shades of gray into our screen. Okay, just into this part of the world. Okay, wow, that looks really, really awesome. Okay, now under stretch type, I want you to go to standard deviation. Okay, and this next part that I'm going to talk to you about, and when you see this blue wheel spinning, that simply means it's just redrawing the data. Okay, it's just streaming in. Okay, so this is a prime example of the problem I was facing in my last map. And what I discovered when I went into 3D was this looked awful. Okay, so these are called blown out pixels in photography, all right? And they're pixels that are all at 255. I mean, there's nothing you can do with them because there's no information in them, all right? It's just pure white, okay? So you can't modulate it in any way. So what I ended up figuring out is if I right click on the layer and go to symbology, I can stretch out these standard deviations. So I'm gonna choose 4, okay? And what we're looking for is a modulated surface. No mountaintop, well, some of them now due to coal mining, no mountaintop is just cut off flat at the top, okay? These aren't mesas. These are, say, now we're getting these nice soft flows, okay? But I still have, you know, this very flat area here. Let me turn this off. And I want to see maybe what 5 would do. So I'm going to tab after that. Okay, so I ended up going to 6 standard deviations, okay? And I try not to zoom in and out a lot during this process because it's gonna take a lot longer, all right? It's gonna have to redraw every time you move that wheel. And sometimes when you gaze at something from this distance, you can really see what's going on. And this is gonna be a very, very interesting data set. The darkest black is where the lowest level is. So this is like sea level in this data set, okay? And these are like Mount Everest, okay? So we're good to go here. Now, if you think, oh, it looked better before and it's kind of great, trust me, I've got some razzle dazzle up my sleeve for Photoshop. So now what we're gonna do is come up to share, okay? And I posted these settings on Blackboard, okay? Because these are very important, all right? So make sure you have all of these settings loaded in. Now, for this one, since the entire page is filled, we can uncheck this. I don't know if it makes a difference really, but that's one thing that Whether you have it checked or not, it's not going to matter that much. It might just save some time. Okay, so what we're going to call this one is, we are just going to call it terrain. Call it what it is. Okay, now we're not going to export that multi-shade, multi-directional hillshade. Okay, this is going to be it. This data set is literally going to generate our 3D terrain. It's going to be pretty amazing. Okay, so I am going to hit export and just let this guy do its thing. All right, and then I will see you in the next video.